Hello, everyone. I just got back from Oaxaca, Mexico. I have a artist travel guide on the area, on my experience, but I'm filled with inspiration. And so for this lesson today, I wanted to just focus on really the heart of Oaxaca City, which in the middle is the Templo de Santo Domingo. It's kind of that iconic image that you think of when you think of Oaxaca City. But this was at once acted as a convent and a church. And there's a lot of history with this. I think there's, good and bad, of course. But it's connected also to the Santo Domingo Cultural Center and the Museo de las Culturas de Oaxaca, as well as the gardens, which are adjacent to it. So absolutely a wonderful place to visit if you're in Oaxaca, and, it's just in the heart and everything kind of works around it. So in our travel day series, these are really quick lessons. I don't go into a ton of detail. I just wanted to offer you some free prompts to inspire you. So I started this on a hot press watercolor paper, just quickly sketched out the Santo Domingo with a burnt sienna colored pencil, and now coming in with my acrylics. I really wanted to highlight from the photograph that I had taken these beautiful plants that are in front of the church. After getting inspired by going through the gardens, there's an incredible gardening and landscaping around the facade of this building. So, there's a lot of history with this church. At one point it was used for military in the 19th and 20th centuries. A lot of the church was actually destroyed during that time. But the interior, so the exterior has what I would say just, a little bit more humble kind of exterior, more stone, not very elaborate. But when you go inside, it is outfitted with just Baroque design galore. I'm talking gold, gilded, gold leaf, everything, and these very, very rich materials. So depending on when you go during the day and the sun hits it, this gold is just highlighted and practically glowing inside. I will include some photographs on my blog so that you can really see all of the beautiful arches and the gilded and the statues that are just 3D on the walls of this. It really is an incredible sight. If you travel, you've seen a lot of temples and churches and all sorts of religions, and this really is one of the most ornate that I have seen. So my base colors, I wanted to really kind of match the environment, have my kind of sage greens, have a variety of greens with the plants, and then just kind of those really earthy colors that you see in the buildings, your yellows, your browns, your terracottas. And then I want to come in with some of these bright pops that you see in Mexico, throughout Mexico, but throughout Oaxaca, just to bring it some boldness and some brightness. I'm playing around with two different colors on the sky. Either I'm going to start mixing the two, which is my Payne's Gray White and this kind of minty green, or sometimes I like to just put them side by side to see which color I like better for the sky and just kind of leave it for a little bit. That helps me kind of determine sometimes, I don't want to do a blue sky. Sometimes I want to use a different color for that. So still sticking with a cooler color so that the building really pops off of it. But you could go in a totally different direction than what you see in real life. took this photograph in the late morning. So you're getting a lot of dark shadows that are almost coming towards the viewer. So I want to make sure that those are in here. It gives so much life and really gives the viewer a placement of where they are. So that sun, you can see in the photograph, is coming in from the top right and then hitting it. So it's creating this angle to the left. So coming in with my Payne's Gray to create those really dark values with my Payne's Gray. I said this on my blog, but Oaxaca truly is a artist's dream trip. The city is so colorful and vibrant. It's so supportive of the arts and culture. The museums throughout are free admission for the most part. The food is incredible. There's 2 different routes from Oaxaca that you can visit artisans. One route kind of goes and you see the alabrejes, which are the wood carved animals. And you can also see the various weavers in that area, and the clay and the pottery. The black pottery is very famous. And then on the other route is more your textiles. So your rugs, and then you have a candle making, and then more of your mezcal. So you can go visit the mezcal distillery, see where the agave's grown, the agave farms. So there's 2 totally different routes. And then there's also some ruins nearby that you could visit as well. We didn't happen to do that on this trip. This was mainly focused for the arts. But I highly encourage you to study it a little bit more as an artist. There's so much to inspire your work. And if you can't tell, maybe I'm that inspired that I'll actually come up with a little mini class just on Oaxaca. But for now, we will just stick to this painting. I have this kind of peachish nude color, and I'm starting to define the buildings just a little bit more. And as you can see, I'm always, whenever I bring a color into one area, I usually try to bring it into other areas of the painting as well. So here I'm coming in, starting to define some of these line work. There is some ornamentation just on the front facade of the building and then the upper areas where the domes are. But for the most part, the rest of it is this kind of limestone all the way around. But I do want to come in with those accents and those arches with just my Payne's Gray and white paint. And I'm working wet on wet, so it's blending with the color that's behind it a little bit as well. in some of that mint green around, and then I really wanted to bring in some pink. And so I'm just blending it, again, working wet on wet with my acrylics so that the colors do kind of blend together. And then just coming in with some of the lighter and darker and creating some of these details that are on the facade of this church. That light is actually coming in a little bit on the right side. So I'm going to want to highlight some of the areas where the sun is hitting behind. So it's basically behind the building, coming up into the sky. So it's our early morning sun. So just always keep in mind the direction of your light, because it really does make a huge difference on your shadows, on your light. And so really pay attention, just like in photography or anything else, you really do want to pay attention to where your light source is coming from, whether it's artificial light or natural light. One of the things that I love the most about Oaxaca is that it's a very walkable city. It's easy to get around. There's a lot to see and do. It's not overwhelmingly huge, but the shops are everywhere. The markets are within walking distance. These temples, these museums, and all of the wonderful, amazing restaurants. I think at most you would walk about, 20, 30 minutes, if that. Now, to see the artisans, you do have to drive about 45 minutes. So obviously lots of artisans in town, lots of galleries in town. You can find a lot of artwork from the artisans, but the actual artisans work outside of the city. So if you want to do something like that, you could plan a day or two on your travels to, go with a tour guide. We ended up hiring a driver to take us, and he knew the area so well that it was an incredible history lesson for us as well in the car ride. So anyways, I just, that feel of walking around Oaxaca and always passing this church, it just truly was such a beautiful, beautiful trip. And, I hope that you can connect a little bit more through some of my photographs and through my artist travel guide to this spectacular place. I'm using that Payne's Gray to create these shadows and these creases now. When I first came in, I just came in with blocks of paint, and now I'm starting to bring that in and start to define some of this plants in the front here, putting some shadowing at the base. The plants actually, they're green, but they have this kind of blue tone to them anyways. But of course, I'm going to be coming in with some bright colors like pinks that, you wouldn't see in the plant, just for fun. And, I made the building pink, even though it is kind of like more of a limestone neutral color, because to me, it kind of embodied some of those colors that I was seeing throughout Oaxaca. Really had this urge to just kind of put some hairs of red in here. And so I'm just going to come in. I have a thin brush and just kind of, there's no saying where I'm actually putting it at this point. But it does lend itself really well, obviously being complementary to green. And with these pinks, it just a touch of it can go a really, really long way. Red is obviously such a bold color, but it's a color that you see throughout Mexico. So I definitely wanted to have a little bit of that in here, and just add a little bit of hints of the acrylic red color. These plants are like sprouting in different directions. So, get a little bit wild with your brushwork, go a lot of different directions to kind of create the liveliness of these plants. They almost have their own character to them. So I'm going to come in now with those soft pastels, add some really, really bright, vibrant pigments, just with some of the colors that are from my palette to just finalize this piece. But I hope you connected to this area. And again, head over to my blog for more details on Oaxaca and to download our artist travel guide. My travel guides are based on a perspective from an artist and my point of view and what I would think that an artist would like to see, or a creative of any kind. That could be a chef or, anything that might inspire you. So thank you again for joining me on this Artist Travel Day series.